Great morning, great morning, great morning. I am Nicole D. Jones, and I'm just happy and grateful for another day. I'm happy and grateful for this Manifest Monday. I'm happy and I'm grateful for you. I don't take days for granted. I don't take them lightly. I am happy and grateful that our perspective is changing. I'm happy and grateful that we are thinking out of the box. We're understanding that we are not generalists, but that we are truly men and women of value, that we're necessary, we're relevant, we're needed. I'm happy and grateful that we are healthy, that we are wealthy, that we are prosperous, that everything that our hands go to touch, it must, it shall, and it will manifest, prosper, and grow every part of our purpose that we have on this journey. I'm happy and I'm grateful for that today. As we're going through how successful people think, I'm happy and grateful that even in this time, that your perspective is changing, that your thinking is changing, that your personal reflection of yourself is changing. It's changing, okay? I'm happy and grateful that we're gonna go through this journey knowing that our glass is always half full, it's never half empty. I don't care what you're going through. I don't care what you're faced with. I don't care what's uncomfortable. I count it all joy because I'm happy and I'm grateful. I have come to a point where I'm embracing and understanding that this journey is a fixed fight and I win. I win. I understand that this journey has a final destiny, but in the process of it all, I have shifted my perspective, intentional every day to receive everything it has for me. If it's good, if it's bad, if it's indifferent, to God be the glory anyway, because it's all going to work together for the good of me because I love Jehovah God. And so do you. If you know it or you don't, you do. All right? Anywho, so Manifest Monday. We're manifesting these things in our life. We're believing these things for our life. We're understanding that we are not mediocre. We're not general. Everything in your purpose, everything in your vision that you've written, you have all that you need to obtain it, to receive it, to be it, and to share it. Okay? Because it's not about you. It's not about me. It's about what we are designed to be and what we're designed to do. All right. So How Successful People Think by John C. Maxwell has been a blessing to me. The book is little. I said, Nicole, you're taking too long. You're taking too long with the book. They need to know how to think. So I'm going to start going through it quicker. Okay. Because it's not a lot. But so we're talking about cultivating big picture thinking, all right? And how to acquire wisdom of big picture thinking. I have put all the videos back up or up on the YouTube. So if you missed anything, go to I am Nicole D. Jones. Write it out like a sentence on YouTube. You'll see it there. The last 8 episodes is always on my website too. And that's IamNicoleDJones.com. Friday is missing. I don't know what happened to Friday. Maybe I forgot to record it. Freedom Friday. I was so free, I guess I forgot. But it's up there now. So how to acquire the wisdom of big picture thinking. All right. If you desire to seize new opportunities and open new horizons, you need to add big picture thinking to your abilities. That's what we've been talking about. But how do we acquire it? All right. Don't strive for certainty. That's number one. For who's taking notes. Remember, note takers are money makers, all right? You always want to have a notebook. Y'all see, bam, I done added to the collection. It's on the website. Notebook. But note takers are money makers, all right? And then this is the thing. Take notes in everything that you experience. Take notes. That's why it's good to journal, because you are also using your 5 senses. And we already know that your 5 senses increase your desire. Your desire increases your belief, all right? So do you believe that you're a big thinker? Do you believe that these things are here for you? Do you believe that it's critical that you can change your stinking thinking to something good? If you do, I need you to get a notebook. It don't have to be mine. Get something to write with, all right? So, number one, don't strive for certainty. All right? Don't try to force every observation or piece of data into a little mental cubbyhole. You got to learn how to think broadly. Okay? You got to learn how to think broadly. If you want to cultivate the ability to think big, you must get used to embracing and dealing with complex and diverse ideas. Okay? You got to be willing to think the next thought. You got to embrace that. Okay? For some, it doesn't come natural. For some, it takes a little work, but you have to always be willing. All right? You got to be willing. If you want to have big thinking, you got to be willing to do this. Okay? Let's see. That's number one. That's number one. Number two, learn from every experience. Learn from every experience. That's why I'm happy and grateful for trials, tribulations, overjoy, success. I'm happy for it all, okay? Because we should learn from every experience that we encounter in this journey, all right? So you don't want to rest where successes are, all right? You want to learn from them. You don't never want to get comfortable in the successes that you make. You don't want to get comfortable there. You want to learn from those too. You acknowledge, you embrace, you take the accolade of whatever it is that you did, but you don't stop there, okay? But most importantly, you got to learn from your failures, all right? You got to be willing to learn from the things that you thought was going to turn out a certain way and they didn't. You got to always be willing to learn and grow, all right? Being able to learn from your failures, it shows that you're teachable, all right? Teachable people will be humble. Teachable people are coachable. Teachable people are the ones who are always remain a student, okay? Just willing to have that big thinking, willing to absorb, all right? So number two, learn from your experiences, okay? The greater the variety of experiences and success, the more potential you have to learn, all right? So again, we go through days. It's so much you can go through, learn in a day if you're intentional on the things that go on through your day, all right? I'm very intentional to learn from everything, the smallest things, okay? If I'm in here with Jaden and I notice that he comes to me and he's like, "Mommy," and I'm like, "Yes, Jaden," and he's like, "Never mind." It's learning that it's teaching me how to catch my tone, because he just was in the process of coming to me with excitement. And as soon as I open my mouth, he's like, "Oh, that's all right. Never mind. Don't worry about it." And he's ready to run away. All right. I'm willing to learn from every experience I encounter, from every person I encounter, from every place that I go. Just be intentional, because everything happens for a reason. All right. Everything, smallest things. Okay. Number three, gain insight from a variety of people. If you desire to broaden your thinking and see more of the big picture, you have to seek counsel to help you. But be wise in whom you get advice from. That goes back to me talking all the time about knowing your circle. Know who has access to you, okay? You got to know who you're allowing to feed you, because everyone has an opinion, okay? Everyone has a thought on something. But it does not mean that that thought and opinion is the one that's for you, all right? So you have to be wise on who you choose, all right? You got to be selective of who has access to you. You got to remember that you are of value. Your time is of value. Your thoughts, your input, your surrounding, your environment, everything is of value. So you have to be selective, all right? You got to be selective of who it is you're allowing to mentor you. Who are you listening to? Okay. And how do you pick these people? How do you know? You got to talk to people who you know care about you. Okay. That's the first thing. People who are around you, stop taking advice from leeches. Some of us know we got people around us that just want to suck you dry. All right? It's got to be give and take. Your circle need to be healthy. All right? It can't always be, I'm giving with nothing in return. That's not your inner circle. That's not your inner. That may be the outer, all right? The 3, the 12, the 72 sent out by two, right? That may be the 12. Sometimes we let the 12 come into the inner when they're supposed to be over here, all right? You have to be selective in who you allow to get this close and who you allow to pour into you, okay? You have to be selective of that, all right? You're also, when you're thinking of a mentor, of course, it's someone that has gone deeper than you, all right? So, of course, you're listening. I'm listening to Riyadh because he's gone deeper than me when it comes to this trading and all of that. He's gone deeper than me when it comes to leadership, all right? You have to also know who your mentor is and why, all right? Number 4, give yourself permission to expand your world, all right? You have to be willing to go against the flow of the world because you got to remember society wants to keep you in a box. Society wants to keep you in a box, okay? Most people are married mentally to status quo. They want what was, not what can be. They seek safety and simple answers, all right? That's the status quo. So what you need to understand in that is that's the majority. But you do understand that in the last days, it's a remnant of people, okay? That's going to the book, but I'm not gonna go there this morning. But you gotta understand that as a society, the way that we're built, odds are against you in big thinking because there are more people who are comfortable being in a box, but we're out of the box. Remember, we understand that. Okay? So to think big, you got to give yourself permission to think a different way. You got to give yourself permission to understand that everyone's not going to be able to connect with you. All right? Everyone's not going to be able to connect with you. You're going to be the one that's different. And you got to be okay with that. This is why I tell you all the time, we're healthy. We're wealthy from inside. We become wealthy from inside as we begin to know us, love us, appreciate us, self-esteem, self-confidence, all this, so that when you're set aside and set apart for purpose, you're all right with it, okay? You're okay. You have peace with it. You understand that your circle is small. Jesus had 3, okay? Be all right with your circle being small as long as it's solid, because that's more powerful anyway, all right? So engage in focused thinking. We want to engage in focused thinking, okay? Focused thinking removes distractions and mental clutter so that you can concentrate on an issue and think with clarity. Focused thinking can do several things for you, all right? So if you're taking notes, engage in focused thinking. Number one, focused thinking harnesses energy towards a desired goal. Focus can bring energy and power to almost anything, if it's physical or mental, all right? Now, what I think about when I think of that, anyone who knows me know I love numbers, all right? Math, I love math, all right? Even at this age, I love numbers. It's just math. I love mathematical equations, okay? Because they make you think, and you have to focus. You have to have focused thinking to do calculus. You have to have focused thinking to do trig. You have to have focused thinking to do math, like to count money. You need to be focused. If you're not focused, you be counting your 20s and you'll miss one. Just like, because we get used to the. But what happens when you got new money? And that money sticking together. So you got to be focused. You got to be looking at that thing, all right? Numbers, it brings focused thinking. But why do I like it? Because it makes you have to focus on that one thing. All right. When you can focus on something, you're more attentive. It allows your thoughts, see, so it'll move all those other things. Think about when you're doing something and have you, if you have kids, have you noticed that your kids will come talk to you when you're on the phone? That's when they ask you, Mommy, can I have this? Can I have that? Because most of the time, you're like, yeah, okay. Because you're trying to stay focused on that conversation. So they wait till you get real, all good up in that conversation, all right? It's a couple people I know that when their kids know that their mom is on the phone with me, they start asking questions. Because they know whatever we talking about is good, all right? It's of value. So their mom is focused on this conversation. Fundisha's one, she got teenagers. They get her out every time. They know it's me on the phone. They do it, okay? Focus thinking. It will help you. It'll help you at difficult times. It'll help you when there's something going on and you need to be able to think something through. You have to have focused thinking, all right? That will, hold on. It harnesses energy because then it harnesses energy. I can't think of anything else, but it does. Y'all keep the money example. That excites. People get excited when they count money, all right? The greater the difficulty of a problem or issue, the more focused thinking time is necessary to solve it, all right? So for me, when I go back to the algebra, numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. Math is very black and white unless you're dealing with infinite numbers, okay? But math is very black and white. That's why you can always check it, okay? If you're adding, you can always subtract. It'll even out. If you're multiplying, you can always divide, all right? Sometimes when you can't get it, you can't be off. You think of a checkbook when you're balancing your book. I don't know about y'all, but man, if that thing off by a penny, I have to go through and I gotta find it, okay? Numbers don't lie, but you gotta understand that you have to have focused thinking. The more difficult a problem is, you can't have those distractions. You gotta focus on it to get it right, to make it right, to know what is right. You gotta focus, okay? Number 2, focused thinking gives ideas time to develop. Okay, focused thinking gives ideas time to develop. So you have to take ideas in order to take them to the next level. You have to shift from being expansive to being selective. All right. So a lot of times if you're with a team, you'll start brainstorming because everyone's bringing their ideas. So that's great. Okay. So you have this bucket of ideas. Okay. But then there's going to come a point where you've got to become selective. So now you have all this stuff, all these things, and you got to start on zoning in. You have to be selective on what you pick up, all right? Being selective on that is where you can then focus. You got to use focus, your focused thinking so that you can develop that thing, all right? So focused thinking gives ideas time to develop. This is how you go from a good idea to a great idea, all right? You got to give it focused time. 3, focused thinking brings clarity to a target. If you don't see your target, you can't focus properly, all right? So think about something that, you're trying to do, all right? If you don't have a target and you just shooting everywhere, that brings frustration. It brings frustration, okay? So you gotta have focused thinking so that you don't stay frustrated. You have to have focused thinking so that you don't become frustrated. So focused thinking brings clarity to a target. See, you gotta look at your goal. You have to be focused on what it is that you're trying to get out of this, or else your mind will go all over. You'll get irritated, frustrated, and most of the time when we get irritated and frustrated, we walk away. You don't want to do that, all right? Focus quickly will turn into frustration, and that'll be poor play. So focus helps you to know a goal and achieve it. All right. It helps you to know a goal and achieve it. Number 4, focused thinking will take you to the next level. The only way to get to the next level is focus. All right. It's focus. Okay. No one can achieve greatness by becoming a generalist. And that's what I keep telling y'all. All right. We can't do that. Focused thinking is the only way you can go to the next level. Thinking the next thought is the only way you could go to the next level. When you are working on your goals, you do yourself an injustice if you don't have time set out to focus on your goal. It's your goal. Nobody's going to accomplish it for you. Nobody's going to do it for you. Okay? It's yours. You gotta embrace it like it's of value to you, because your goal should be you're of value, right? So immature minds hop from one thing to another, but a mature mind seeks to follow through. All right? That's how you have to go to the next level. You have to be willing to follow things through. So where should you focus your thinking? Where should you focus your thinking? That's good. All right. Does every area of your life deserve focused thinking time? Your answer should be no. It should be no. So be selective, not exhaustive in your focused thinking. All right. You have to be selective, not exhaustive. Everything don't require your thoughts. Okay. Everything don't require your thoughts. So 1, identify your priorities. So the first thing you have to do is take into account your priorities for yourself, your family, and your team. All right. This is how you decide where you should focus. You should have focused thinking, This is how you decide. All right. You got to identify your priorities. You got to look at the priorities for yourself, your family, and your team. All right. If you're a leader, you got to do that. All right. And then you have to know yourself well enough to begin to focus on your strengths, the things that make best use of your skill and your God-given talent. All right. How you do that is you look at what you do that gives you the greatest reward. All right. You got to do that. So you got to get to looking in yourself. All right. Another way is to focus on exceptional opportunities that promise a huge return. It comes down to this: give your attention to the areas that bear fruit. All right. You got to look at that when it comes to you, your family, and your team. All right. Another thing, you got to discover your gifts. You got to know you. All right. Not all people are self-aware and have a good handle on their own gifts and talents. All right. So you got to think about it. I don't know about you. Ooh, y'all, look at this. My glasses, I am so hot. Anyway, but you got to think back. See, this is why I say, like, a lot of things of what you do, you have to be willing to kind of dig back. Some of us didn't grow up in households where they were affirmed. I didn't receive affirmations, okay? Listen, I didn't do that, all right? My dad was gone a lot. My mom, she was learning to speak English, okay? She loved me the way she could, all of that. But I didn't grow up in a household where I received a lot of affirmations. When I failed, it was that whole encouraging environment to get up and keep going. I didn't have all that, all right? So you have to be willing to look at yourself, to know yourself and the things that you may need to do or put more effort into for yourself to build that balance, all right? So some of us, if you're honest, I think that's why I lose direction a lot. Like, you have to be willing to look at your past. You have to be willing to look at your childhood. You have to be willing to look at your upbringing, the things that you had, the things that you didn't. And it'll begin to explain a lot about you. why you are the way that you are. Why is it that you may not see things through? Because depending on what we were exposed to or not exposed to, and how we've chosen to embrace that consciously or unconsciously, really will give us a true picture as to why we do some of the things that we do. All right. And if you're ever interested in that, they actually have tests that you can take. You can take like personality tests. Okay. One is the DISC, DISC, if you want to Google it. Another is Myers-Briggs. Okay. But you have to figure out what your gifts are if you don't know, because we all have God-given gifts and talents. Okay. If you're not sure, you got to ask people that you trust. Okay. You got to ask people that you trust. That's friends, that's family members, someone who's going to be honest with you, not just give you a whole bunch of fluff, but really be honest with you, the good and the bad. Okay. So, and then if you're going to focus your thinking in areas of strength, you have to know what they are. That's the only way you can do it. All right. Develop your dream. If you want to achieve great things, you need to have a great dream. If you're not sure of your dream, use your focused thinking time to help you discover it. Okay? You have to do that. You got to be able to dream, all right? So let's see, particular area of time. Let's see, you may be able to discover your dream there. So when you're in your focused thinking, the things that you desire, things that you have passion for, all of those things, that'll help you discover it. All right? What time is it? All right, I'm gonna stop. That'll help you discover it. Okay? So you want to get to know yourself, know your strengths and weaknesses. That is so important. It's important in everything that we do, but you have to know you. Everything that we're doing, you have to take the time to get to know you. That's why I call it the meal plan. You got to start with your mindset. You have to. And for some people, it's uncomfortable. It's hurtful to kind of reflect back on your past. But this is why it's important for you to have accountability. It's important for you to have that person in your life that's going to weather that season with you and walk with you, because you have to know the root and the core of who you are to really understand your behaviors in certain ways that you respond. Okay. So we're going to continue with the How Successful People Think. Remember, it's Manifest Monday. Be intentional to affirm yourself today. Okay. I don't know what you've gone through from this time to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Some of y'all may have had a great morning. Some of y'all may have not. But in everything on Manifest Monday, you got to remember that there is a team of us holding you accountable to manifest things in your life, just like they're holding me accountable. So even if you feel like you're alone, you feel low, you feel down, speak those things out of your mouth that are going to lift you up. Be your number one cheerleader and know that you have at least Nicole D. Jones out here cheering for you too. You have me and everyone who's a part of the community, everyone who is a part of these calls, okay? We're never alone. Remember to stay humble, stay focused, stay positive. As you are willing to learn who you are, you can learn to be you unapologetically, because in doing it, we're doing it in a posture of submission and humility, never arrogance and pride, okay? Remember, you are healthy, you are wealthy, you are prosperous, and everything that your valuable hands go to touch, it must, it shall, and it will manifest, prosper, and grow value, okay? Because it's who you are. Continue to have a fantabulous day. Smooches.